church, or Diversey, is about a community of believers. And even though we're commemorating and celebrating the 50 years here at Diversey, I can't help but also think about the previous years, the beginnings, the germination of a community that in 1899 reached out to New York and said, "Send us a priest, we need to worship." Our church was consecrated in 1926 at Hoyne in Augusta. And from those days on, the Diversey, the church, grew. And it grew to the point where Hoyne in Augusta was no longer, viable, and we needed a larger, better location.
We had what we had called a 5-year plan. Every year we would have a banquet downtown at the hotels, and people would contribute or they'd make a pledge. We needed $65,000 to start, buy the land, and at least have $30,000 to start building. And we started out with 6 people, and you know what happened? Within 3 or 4 years after we started, everybody resigned. 2 of them said, "We're never going to build this church. It's too difficult. Going around begging people at night for money, and then when the building stopped, say, "Oh, this we can't do, we're not going to make it." They all quit. So I'm left alone. I went home and told my mom and dad, and my mother's very religious. She's one of the backbones of this church. She says, "My son," she said in Armenian, "I depend on you to continue. Whatever you have to do, you do. You must do it. You must finish it." Parishioners would come up to me and say, "We trust you. We trust you, Haigpedian, and we expect you to build this church." I said, "I give you my word." And I lived by that. Never forgot that. Mrs. Shahinian, 2442 Sunnyside, I never forget. We went there one night, and we presented ourselves, and she said, "Armenian, I have $600. I'm going to give it to you for my donation." The husband said, "That money we saved it for our roof." She said, "We can always get a roof, but we got to help them build the church." That's the kind of devotion and loyalty there was, love. By the time 64, we had most of them, not all the money, but most of it, and that's how we started.
Prior to building of the church, when you excavate the land, you must place a stone or a piece of granite in the ground. And the Sirpazan blesses it, and Haig and Sirpazan did the digging. My brother and my father was the deacon at the time, but we had no stone. So I said, "Well, I think I could get one." So opposite a cemetery where we all go to Mount Olive, there was a monument business. So I told them what my plight was, and they gave me a piece of granite about that large. And I hurried over to the land, and everybody was waiting there. And I took the stone, they put it in the ground, and both of them covered it up.
The consecration of the church, which was October 4th of 1964. Deacon Hovanes, who's now Derkadikin Kasparian, was our deacon in charge.
We had Sirpazan Manugian at the time, Sion. He came in there, he was the one that consecrated. We had a lot of people, this whole area was full of Armenians. It was jam-packed.
They are pioneers, visionaries. I bow down before that sort of fortitude, boldness, and greatness.
St. Gregory is this tight-knit group of people. All of my friends are friends from church. We grew up together here.
My sister and I had to take 3 buses. We couldn't speak English, and God forbid we missed a bus, or we got off at a different stop and we didn't know where we were. That would have been a catastrophe. But we still managed to go to church every Sunday. And it was very important. It was part of us. This is where we belong.
Going to church was part of life. We were all dedicated at the time. I mean, everybody thought that that's what you should do, and that's what we did.
I watched my mother and father for many years do some of the same things that I've done, and they did it with such love and such passion that I felt that I almost received a calling at some point to be involved, and that is why I've so faithfully served this community.
The church is sort of the beacon in a city like this where Armenians can come from all over the country, all over the world, and we are the family of those people that come.
When you enter into relationships with people, whether it's holding their hand at a hospital bed, whether it is being joyful with someone at a baptism or at a wedding, or crying with a family at a funeral, you learn humility. You become part of the fabric of that community. St. Gregory is an extremely unique community, extremely unique. As I look on the horizon and I see a younger generation, I see that that's going to definitely continue.
In our young people, I see that the seeds are planted through Sunday school, through Father Auden, through the church family, learning, seeing the way people act and live together. And I tell them that, you know, I want them to do what we've done and to continue.
Growing up in this church, I can't imagine my life being any different, because not only has my faith matured in this church, but I as a person have too. My culture, my language, everything that I was looking for as who I am and what I grew up with, St. Gregory was able to provide that.
Growing up at St. Gregory has really been a huge part of my life. I've met some of my lifelong friends here. I've gone to Sunday school here. Some of my fondest memories are here in this church.
St. Gregory is my home. I try to treat it with the same love and respect that I treat my own home where I live every day, because it's no different.
If you want to continue on with your heritage, you must support it. You've got to. You can't stay away.
Come and be a part of this wonderful family